Welcome back to the Party Room Film Festival podcast. For this episode, I have the director Tanner Perkins. Tanner, how are you?
I'm good.
Tanner, I've been really excited about this interview. Your film is definitely different than everybody else's because rather than just make a short film, you wrote out the plot line for a full-length movie. And I'll be honest with you, I've been listening to it on repeat the past few days as I've been preparing for this interview. And I think that movie would be amazing. Certainly more amazing than Home Sweet Home Alone.
Yeah.
I didn't realize when I watched Home Sweet Home Alone, but I think, and you can correct me on this, is that the Home Alone that you were referencing at the end of your video?
I was referencing the original Home Alone.
I got, but I mean, like at whenever
yeah, the credit thing. Yeah, it was.
Mhm.
That was part of the inspiration was like, oh, they're doing another reboot. Like I would rather see a prequel
Mhm.
to because they do prequels too. Like I think I just like when we got our thing announced, like Cruella just came out and the Joker.
Mhm.
So that was kind of like between that and them announcing the Home Sweet Home Alone. I'm like, that's kind of the inspiration to
Mhm.
to pitch a prequel.
Yeah, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. So the intro video comes out at the beginning of festival season. You got Aaron as your actor and you got Wet as your adjective. What were your original reactions to this?
I just thinking of like wet, and I'm like, what is wet? What can I do with wet?
Mhm.
And honestly, the first thing that did come up in my head was the Wet Bandits.
Oh, you just went straight there?
I went straight there. Like I don't know why. Again, it's not even Christmas time, but that's the first thing that went was pretty much the Wet Bandits, and I'm like, ooh, that would be great. Like characters to do, and it's a
Mhm.
good story on them to focus on.
Mhm. It's absolutely a classic. Did you have any ideas for making like making a more traditional short film, like a script and everything?
Yeah, that was the original plan was to actually film that what I pitched.
Mhm.
And so, like, I was hoping to get a couple of my buddies in on it and film it around between my apartment and my friend's apartment.
Mhm.
But sadly, it did not work out.
After just some scheduling conflicts.
Yeah,
What were you originally going to have Aaron do?
I was gonna have like so in the pitch, like in the actual finished product, you see the picture of him at the sink with like pictures of pugs be around. So I wanted him to be like the bully.
Mhm.
Obviously, it's kind of hard, like since I'm in Ohio, I'm isolated from pretty much everyone else.
Mhm.
It's hard to like make it work. So my original thought was to have him film something like like basically a reverse shot, and they just wouldn't share the screen. But
Mhm.
but as like I went to the pitch meeting, it's like, well, it's not even really worth the hassle to have him film something, so I just put his picture in it.
Yeah.
Was allowed in the rules, so
I will say I am very sad that we don't get to see Aaron Winiarowski as a bully because that is something that I would love to see.
yeah, yeah,
Also, I relate to the whole like not having anybody to film with, like being from Georgia. It is a bummer when everybody's like kind of living in the Kentucky, Indiana area. So
yeah.
I agree with that. Okay, so what was the light bulb moment for you? When did you switch from when did you change gears and go to all right, well let me do a pitch meeting.
Well, it's a lot of procrastination, trying to figure out schedules and figuring out what to do. I even actually at one point like was just like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I really want to make this film, but I don't have anyone to help me. And so at one point, I even considered doing basically making a sequel to my film from 2020, the
Mhm.
artistic film. And I'm just like, I'm just you know what? I'll just do a bunch of running water shots or like a day in the life of the guy, like what water is in a person's life in their day.
Yeah.
And it's like that'd be kind of cool, but I still like really like the idea of the Wet Bandits, and I wanted to tell that story. So I was watching. I think I just like I was watching on YouTube surfing, and I watched a couple pitch meeting videos, and I'm like,
Mhm.
you know what? That'd be a great idea. I can just pitch the movie I want to do.
That is a very creative way to go about it. Mitchell's episode hasn't been released yet, but he talked a lot about how he had to deal with certain like barriers and certain obstacles, and that's why we got the product we did this year versus his original, which I won't spoil for you, but
Yeah, well, because I was his actor, so
Mhm. Oh yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
you were. Yeah.
so what he like, so what he originally told me I was going to do was completely different than what I ended up doing. So
Mhm. Actually,
yeah,
that's because his episode is going to release tomorrow. Tell me a little bit about this is kind of off topic, but tell me a little
yeah.
bit about your reactions to his original film
Oh man,
and that whole experience.
I'm trying to think. I'm gonna pull up this conversation
Mhm.
in the chat and see what he told me. All right. So originally he's like, he just wants me to have on a video chat talking with his actress. It's supposed to be like, oh yeah, it's originally supposed to be a video date.
Mhm.
That was his original film. So I was
Mhm.
gonna be the awkward guy that was gonna be a date. I'm like, that's perfect. I'm totally awkward on dates. So it will be almost like it's real life.
Yeah,
And
he
then
said that before that one, his original idea was to be like a Saw movie, and that it was going to
yeah, he
be
did tell me that. I was gonna
um
be like the main Saw character.
mhm,
And I probably would have made my way down to film for that one if we would have gone through that. But
yeah.
yeah, that was I remember that now. Yeah, that was the original. And so I was on board for that. And then he went to the video date, and then so he told me like I'm the awkward guy, and I'm like I can do that. And then I ended up being just like a YouTuber, and I actually filmed like he gave me a whole like 2 paragraph script, and I think I only used like a line or two of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as well as you, it's incredible when people still submit videos after having to deal with so many different obstacles and everything. So, big ups to you. Like, all right, I don't have actors, I don't have this, I don't have that. Well, screw it. I can still put this in. And so, big round of applause to you. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, the deadline was one thing. Like I was also like being up against like going to camp and running sound and stuff for youth, and I'm like, that was the last week of July. So I'm like, if I don't get this done before I go to camp, it's not happening at all. So that was like the time crunch was real, and I was trying to
Oh yeah.
do something. And that was pretty. And really, the pitch meeting was at the end of the day was pretty simple
Mhm.
to do.
And I mean, that's something that, we have to remember when making these films is that they are fun, but, we have our priorities. There are real life things that we have to do.
Yeah,
If time or budget wasn't an issue, what would be different?
I mean, I would do the full
Yeah.
film for sure. I mean, I'd pitch it.
You kind of
If I had
already
no
answered
budget,
it.
I'd go, I'd film the bully scene at like a big mansion.
Mhm.
That'd be cool.
Did you have any like maybe not gone as far as storyboarding, but did you have any ideas for so Harry, he's trying to fix the sink and a bunch of
Yeah.
like pratfall comedy ensues. Did you have any ideas for those iconic Home Alone bumps that people have to take in those films?
Yeah. I think what I say is about a bunch of stuff with water. So like the sink was gonna break, water would like be spraying everywhere onto them. Like it was
Mhm.
like them becoming the wet bandits was almost more by accident because they were just like, doing stuff in the house. Lots
Mhm.
of water slipping, classic spray.
And then, so I did want to also applaud you on getting the psychology of the prequels of Home Alone correct, like doing my research on everything. So, Harry, his bike gets stolen, he grows up and, he cusses at this woman's house while on a job and she hits him in the head and then he's unable to cuss anymore. That is called trauma induced aphasia. It is a very real thing.
I did not know that. I just remember like always reading like trivia about the original Home Alone, and like he can't like Joe Pesci, like they told him not to swear because it's a kids movie.
Mhm.
So I was like, well, that'd be kind of a funny gag for the pitch is like he's swearing and like wait, this is a kids movie,
Mhm.
and so he can't swear. But then at the fact that that's a real thing, that's kind of crazy.
And then Marv, he is bullied into facing his fear of water,
Yeah,
correct? So it's similar to Stockholm syndrome, but instead of becoming obsessed with a person, it is becoming obsessed with an object. And so it is called trauma based OCD because he becomes obsessed compulsively with water after
yeah.
this trauma.
Yeah, that one
Um,
was just I went to the pool a lot this summer, so I'm like, if I'm gonna film this a pool scene, could totally pull that off. That was the reasoning behind that.
Yeah, it was, I don't know. I just looking those up, it was like, oh man, that's cool. That's actually a really great way to explain. So I like, just big ups to you for mental illness awareness in your films.
Like I said, there's some inspiration from Joker and Cruella. So
Did Cruella actually have a F word in it?
I don't know.
Oh, did you not watch it?
I don't know. I did. Well, I've watched it like once.
Mhm.
I think it was after, but it really like the inspiration was just more like a prequel of a villain. That was really the inspiration from it.
Mhm. So let's say that Hollywood picks this up, Disney picks this up. Who do you pitch to play Harry and who do you pitch to play Marv?
Ooh, that's good. That's a tough. Like, I mean, obviously you don't want the originals, but they're getting old. Like
Yeah.
Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern. But
And you don't want to do like a CGI head
yeah,
replacement to make them look young because then they'll
no,
be all rubbery and stuff.
yeah. Ah, boy, newer younger actors that would play them. Ooh, that's tough.
I feel like Timothy Oliphant, whatever his name is, I feel like he's in everything now. So maybe he could be
Yeah,
like Harry.
yeah. Harry, you need like a short, bald guy. I mean, he's like shorter.
Are you saying that Harry is bald in the prequels?
Yeah, Harry's Joe Pesci is Harry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you saying that
Well,
he would be
oh,
bald in the
I
prequel?
mean, I guess not, but he's still short. Seems so
Mhm.
much shorter to play him. He had a little bit of hair in the first one. It got burned off.
Yeah. I'm looking at pictures of them now and it's kind of painful to look at.
I know. He'd be too old too, but then like there's one of the TV movies they made that's terrible and awful, and I've still seen it. It's like basically it's like coming on the fourth one, the TV movie, and they brought back like the original characters, and they had French Stewart play Marv.
Okay.
Like French Stewart's pretty funny, but I think he'd still be at this point too old for a prequel.
I can't think of any actors either,
No,
but
see that
uh
just the two of them were so iconic in those roles. It's hard to.
mhm. All right, so maybe we just do the CGI head
Yeah,
replacement for them then.
yeah.
Who do you pitch for directing the film?
Hmm. I mean, I'd probably have to go with the original, Chris Columbus. He did the original too.
Fair
Or
enough.
no,
Yeah.
wait, no, John. Maybe it's John Hughes who did the original, but Chris Columbus was involved. But Chris Columbus has got a good record of comedies. He was at least a producer.
I cannot actually remember. Yeah,
I'm looking it up now. No, yeah, Chris Columbus. John Hughes wrote it. Chris Columbus was the director.
I knew that
So
there was some
yeah,
weird technicality that it's not actually considered a John Hughes movie, but
yeah.
I'm not well versed enough in my directors to dispute that. A little bit of trivia for you. Apparently the director of Home Alone, you said not Christopher Columbus. What?
Just Chris Columbus.
Uh, apparently he was supposed to do the Lampoon's Christmas, but hated Chevy Chase and ended up being moved to the Home Alone project.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And then along with that is, so I take it you've heard of the conspiracy theories about Frank McAllister.
Yeah, and that's why I put that. He's in the movie at the end. He's the guy in the van that just kind of picks them up
Mhm. Can,
randomly.
can you explain a little bit about those conspiracy theories? Because I'm just
Yeah,
not, yeah,
yeah.
I didn't realize the connection until
So,
watching.
but like, I mean, it's kind of. I'm pretty sure they've confirmed it's not true, but like, it's a good theory because it's totally believable with how the movie is. But in the movie, Frank's always like, he's like really cheap, always trying to like get money or talking about how like his brother's paying for stuff. And
Mhm.
so the theory is, and like why he's really mean to that family, but the theory is that he hires Harry and Marv to rob the houses.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of why at the end of mine, I kind of put him as like the guy picks him up and like, oh, they're gonna become partners. And
Mhm.
kind of set that up.
Yeah. Who do you think wins between your submission for 2020 and your submission for 2021?
Ooh, that's tough. I mean, I feel like for me personally, 2020 from like I just because it's more of an artistic and I get to like go out and like I've actually went out and filmed stuff. But I think if people were to compare everyone else's compare my films, they'd probably do this one because it was actually pretty funny. Like the reactions I got from it were better than I thought. I was like really nervous. Like like it played and like I was after like a bunch of good films and I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Here's mine, just a pitch meeting.
Yeah. I think everybody, I think we all loved it. It's one of those things where it's like you're trying to like listen to it and it's like the style of it is very quick comedy. So you're like you can't laugh too loud because you have to hear the next punchline. But yeah, everybody loved it. And again, I can't stress how much I would have preferred this movie to Home Sweet Home Alone because that movie sucked.
It was awful.
Did you watch it?
I did, and the day it came out, and it was. I didn't know how to feel. They made me sympathetic towards the supposed villains, and I'm like, it's just weird. Like, yes, they're breaking the law, but also like they're trying to save their family home. So, yeah.
I think my biggest issue with it was the lack of practical effects, the lack of practical pratfalls. It was like a bunch of CGI soda bottles flying around and like a CGI milk jug hitting them in the face. It just wasn't the same. So after we have the artistic film and then we have a pitch meeting, where do you go from here? Do you have any concepts or plans that you're playing with for next year?
I have a couple, and I'll get a little tease. One is I'll be big. It's a Western.
Okay.
One of the Western genre, maybe.
Awesome. Cowboys, Indians.
My parents are just in the process of buying a huge farm, so there's gonna be a lot of land to work with.
Oh, awesome.
So, and my dad's got horses, so got some elements already there. Another one I feel is a little maybe more cliche, but it's also like doable. But there's like a kid waking up with superpowers. So,
that's awesome. No, that's really cool.
I don't know which way to go yet. I'll probably get a better idea after we get this year's rules and stuff.
I found that you don't want to get too attached to any one idea because once you figure out I want to do this, then the rules are going to be completely different. Aaron Winiarowski says, "Isn't that great?" I don't agree with that personally. I think it sucks, but I think it's good to have like a couple different ideas down the pipeline, so that you're ready for anything. Do you think there is an algorithm or a perfect recipe for the perfect festival submission?
Ooh, that's tough. I mean, comedy. It's gotta be funny. It's gonna have a little bit of nerdiness in it, like a little sci-fi type, or just plain weird vibe. I think.
You think sci-fi, like so?
I mean, although I don't say that because there's other ones that weren't sci-fi that were really good last year. But they were still quirky, like nerd quirky.
I think it's like definitely knowing your audience and playing to the nerds.
Yeah. I just think of like when I think of like to me what was like the perfect films would be like yours, Zach's, and was it Paul's is the weightlifting one?
Paul's was Sweaty Gains, yeah.
Sweaty Gains, yeah. Like the three of those to me was like that's like the epitome of what nerd films are. I don't know. Just to me. Like no,
that's awesome.
Like yours is kind of more serious, but sci-fi, and then Zach's is like the perfect just Zach. and then Paul's is also a great comedy.
I just got done doing Paul's interviews and it was great talking to him a little bit about inspirations and then just the style of shooting that he had. Is there anyone you want to call out this year, grudge match style?
No.
That's
really.
fine. I'm just trying to start some petty rivalries just for the fun of it.
I think it'd be interesting to go up against Andrew this year, though.
You said you want to be against Andrew?
Yeah, I want to go for it.
I'm considering that a call out. Andrew King, Tanner Perkins is calling you out, son.
I listened to his episode and then I watched his film as soon as I was done, and I was dying laughing again. Like I haven't seen it since we watched them together, and I was just dying. It's so funny and disgusting.
It's certainly horrifying. That's for sure. All right. Well, do you have any Easter eggs or fun stories from behind the scenes that you want to share?
Behind the scenes, yeah. I did it all in a week.
Hmm.
Like I was pretty procrastinating. So I think I did like it was like Wednesday night. I like wrote the script, and then Thursday night I filmed it, and then Friday night I did the editing, and then Saturday checked it over and submitted it. So that was like the second to last week of July.
I mean,
It's a lot of
just short, sweet, and to the
a
point.
lot of procrastination. Writing, I hate writing. That's my least favorite part. Like
What is
when
your
I like
favorite part?
I like editing. That's kind of my favorite thing to do.
Which is a shame because you did win Best Actor in the original festival -1, I guess.
Yeah.
Because so I would think that like filming would be one of your favorites.
Oh, dude. Honestly, like I hate film sets. No, I'm being dead serious. Like in college, when you're in college, like that is like the last place I want to be. I don't know. I just found them. Usually, I think it's because I'm stuck on audio. So it's like for audio, it's like you hook up your mic and then you wait. So
Yeah,
I was always bored. And like I took producing class in or started it and I dropped out of it. I hated it so much.
but you enjoy acting, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not the best actor. I haven't done a lot. Like I did a
Mhm.
couple in college. Like I was in Lucas Green's. It was called one of the cheese balls. Addicted. I think it was called Addicted.
Oh yeah.
I was
Oh
silent
wow.
cameo in that. I did Cody now says in his one with the shirt that like
Hmm.
attacked Harry Fogel.
Yep. And
I
again,
don't
I think that's what cements you as an amazing actor. You're only on
yeah,
screen for like 2 seconds, but it's the
yeah.
best part of the whole film.
I think I'm a good like physical comedy, facial expression actor. Maybe not like a good like drama
This has been the PRFF podcast, and I'm just hanging out.
with my family.